Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another video. It is freaking 5:44 in the morning. The reason I'm up so early is not entirely because I want to be. I don't mind being up this early, but right now I am actually about to get the car remote tuned. And if you don't know what remote tuning is, it's basically where somebody else tunes your car, street tunes your car from a distance over the internet. So the Miata, as you guys know, I've been having non-stop issues with it since I originally got it tuned, a couple months ago. Yeah, car made 168 at the wheels, originally 153 torque or whatever. Healthy numbers for what it is. I just ran out of fuel pump pressure, so I was very limited on the amount of boost I could run. I was limited to like 7 or 8 pounds. Yada yada yada, but the drivability was trash. I've been having non-stop issues with it since, and I think the issue is because my tuner who tuned the car, I don't know if he just doesn't have experience with these cars. The software, I use a Speedy EFI unit, which is like a Mega Squirt, and I don't know, I paid full price for a good tune, and I didn't get a good tune. I took it back to get retuned because the drivability on the tune was garbage, and just have had nothing, no luck, nothing. Car just has been driving like crap, very unpleasant. And so I had another kid come out and kind of tweak the tune a little bit, helped, but other than that, it was just a waste of quick $50 for the kid. But now this guy, he goes by the channel name of DC Works. He's going to be remote tuning me. I had a few people recommend him to me, and the guy seems very knowledgeable. We've been talking back and forth, and so he offered me a free hour to at least set me up with a new base map. But I think by the end of the hour, I'm probably going to at least pay him for another hour after that, because it is a Miata and he is very familiar with these. He said it should be a really quick 2-3 hour thing tops to get this situated, and then after that the car should be really good to rip on, and then I can finalize it on a dyno after that. So at some point I will. There's a guy out here named Curly Flores. I've heard good things about him, so I know he right now is actually getting some practice on Tuner Studio through Mega Squirt, because Tommy at Superior Customs Garage is doing a turbo Miata as well. So we sent Curly out here, his software and ECU and everything, so that way he could get the hang of it, because he's coming out here in a couple weeks for this Debbie Garage meet, and he's gonna get tuned a few days before that by Curly. So if the tune is pretty solid by then, and then I just need to have him finalize it on the dyno, so be it. Hopefully that's what we can do. But at the moment, I already got the rest of the car prepped. I got spark plugs gapped. I got fluids topped off. I got the new fuel pump in last night, which is the DeechWorks 200, and now I'm gonna just turn the wastegate spring, its actuator or whatever, all the way out to where the flapper is still closed, but he wants to build my VE map, my fuel map or whatever, off of that, and then we can turn the boost up. So I think that'll put it stock boost around 6 or 7 PSI. It should be pretty much almost all the way out as is, but let's do this real quick. Set up the team viewer so he can log into my computer and get on this video call, or however we're gonna do this. This is all a new experience for me. So I'm just backing this thing out. Just this little E-clip holds it in place, and this 10 mm nut, and then just lengthen it to soften it up to reduce the boost. So this is freaky. I already gave the guy access. He's just logging in right now, and yeah, we use TeamViewer, so it's, oh, there he is actually. Alright, so yeah, so he's actually calling me right now and gonna walk me through all this, but yeah, he's just gonna basically have control of my laptop and tell me what I need to do. Right now we're updating the software and going from there.
I'm just going to set up the gauges for me then. Alright, so what I'm going to do first and foremost,
Alright, so I didn't really get to film pretty much almost any of the remote tune session. Just know that it went well. It was weird, kind of creepy, seeing the computer doing its own thing, since the guy was controlling it from, I think he's in the Caribbean, he said. But the Miata feels fantastic. It feels 10 times better than it ever did on the other tune. There's no more random stumbling. It's not falling on its face. It's not running super rich. I had to turn the boost down for now, so we're at 7 pounds now instead of 9, but we will be turning the boost up. I'm gonna do one more session with him, probably this Friday. But I turned the boost down because he wanted to build the fuel table essentially, and he did a pretty darn good job at it. So it does all the crackles and stuff right now. I left the deceleration fuel cut off, which is why it does the crackles. So it just basically just doesn't shut the injectors off, so engine braking is a little less efficient and it burns a hair more gas, but sounds really cool. But this car has not been washed in a hot minute, so I'm gonna just run up to the gas station really quick and get this thing rinsed off, and then we gotta swing by AutoZone because his truck needs a relay, and I just found that my clutch switch stopper, pedal stopper thingy is actually missing because we tried setting the launch control and it was engaged even when the clutch wasn't pushed in because it's the little pin, the spring pin is out. So a little, either glue a penny on there or see if AutoZone has a little stopper, and it should work just fine. But once I get that fixed, then I can have launch control set up. And one of the things right off the bat that this thing does that it didn't do before is it starts on its own without giving it any gas. A little slow on the start because idler control valve, but I didn't have to touch the throttle, which is big improvement. Just went and got this thing washed. And I had to pick up some of these things. Hopefully these work. Yeah, these little clutch pedal stopper, pedal bushing, whatever they're called. I'm gonna try and see if one of those will fit my clutch pedal because I am missing it. So then if I get that fixed, then I can set up launch control. So we'll come out and we'll take the Miata out a little bit later because in the meantime, you know, I think I'm gonna try and make a rear strut brace for the Integra. So let's get in here really quick and get a look at it. So I already have one, obviously, but this is just a super cheap, flimsy aluminum guy. And I want to make one beefier. I want to make them to be able to sell them. So I think I'm going to try just doing that. And before any of you guys say, hey, why don't you try making a front one? That will be in the works, but the only concern with the front one is I don't have a B-Series in mind. So I can make them for a K-swap DA. That may not be an issue because there's more clearance because the intake manifold is on the front of the motor, not the back. And in my opinion, there's more clearance in a DA with a K than there is in with a B-Series. So a B-Series, I may have to borrow a buddy's car that has a DA. I know a few guys, so if you guys really want a DA1 with a B-Series, or a strut brace for a DA with a B-Series, then I can probably try and make that happen. But in the meantime, this is going to be super easy, and the rear strut brace really actually makes a big difference on these cars. I still run it. I have the harness bar that attaches the 4 pillars, but attaching the shock towers really does make that big of a difference, especially, you know, on these friggin', I don't know, just old cars like this. I mean, the front half of my car, at least the engine bay, firewall floor, is all stitch welded. I don't really need a strut brace up there. Yeah, it would help because you're still tying the shock towers together, but the rear end needs it too.
So this is the only material that I really have to use at the moment on hand, which is 1¼ inch by 90,000th wall thickness. This is what I've been using to make the roof braces. It's really strong stuff, really lightweight. This is a 10-foot section. The whole thing weighs just a couple of pounds. My roof braces have been coming in at 9 pounds, so the strut brace should probably be about half that. Yep. We're looking for a tape measure though, somewhere in here. So this should be relatively simple. We're looking at pretty much 41 inches, almost dead center. So at basically 41 inches, I think it's more like 40½. But at say 41 inches, that gives me enough material out of that 10-foot stick to make both the mounting points and two runners going across, 2 bars going across, and then I just got to find a way to attach those bars, not even so much for structure, but for style really, because it's going to be tying the 2 points together anyway. So I guess I'm going to actually run down to the hardware store really quick, get some washers, so that way I can make the mounting points. Then we'll come back and we will just start cutting up metal and get one made. Okay, just went to the hardware store, got the washers that I needed, and just unbolted this. So we're gonna just try and see what we can come up with. So essentially I'm gonna be using something like this as the mounting points, and we'll just, you know, throw it up there like that. May have to, in the next one, I'm gonna have to use a smaller one because this is a little bit large to my liking, but it'll work. Got my mounting points cut and deburred, so I'm gonna go ahead and just tack these washers on here. And even if this turns out to be a failure for the strut brace, I can still reuse these for the roof braces, because I'm gonna try and make the roof brace for the Del Sol that can keep the front and rear plastic. So either way, this can be repurposed if this fails. I was just watching Bravis's, aka Debbie Garage's last video on driving the 2J Civic, which mine will be up later this evening, which is, I don't know, what is today, Wednesday? But his reactions when I got to drive it first, like, I didn't get to hear him obviously since I was in the car, but watching his perspective on the video, absolutely hilarious. So yeah, these will fit, these 1¼ inch tubes, but I definitely am going to downsize to 1 inch. But at least for mine, for being the first one, it'll work for mine. I don't know why they did it this way, but these outside ones went on totally fine, and these inside ones I had to hog the holes out and dent it a little bit right there because it's like tighter, smaller on this side. So this one will definitely be my personal one, and I'll make sure for the ones to sell to just drop it down to 1 inch tube, and that should have no problem with clearance. But now I got these 4 mounting pins in. Now I can just get my measurement from across, and then we can cut the other pieces and notch those and tack it in. I went and got the first tube cut, just finished notching it. Fits up perfect. It's just tight enough that it's resting in there. I'm gonna go get the MIG welder. I wanna try and TIG this all up, but I'm gonna tack it with the MIG in place, and then gotta try and figure out how to do this without getting the metal to pull in, because I really don't want it to do that. So I might tack it all up and then make a jig and bolt it down. But yeah, this first tube is good, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the measurement for the second tube. I mean, I have the measurements 39 3/4. This one is a hair longer. I thought the bolts sat like totally in line like that, but they sit more like that. Just maybe like a 3-degree angle. So front one is gonna be just a hair shorter, but yeah, looking pretty good so far. And like that, we got a nice crispy, clean cut. Okay. Okay, it's a little on the loose side, but I think we can still work with it. It's probably like a 30-second off, so I'm gonna definitely have to tack it in place, but then I should be able to fill it just fine even with the TIG. But yeah, that's gonna work. Like I've said before, make sure when you're welding on the chassis itself, pretty much anything you're welding on your car other than your exhaust, it's safe to unhook the ECU. So I'm gonna go up onto my dash really quick, unplug my ECU, and then tack it. It's out of the car. I got the centerpiece tacked in. This was the hardest piece to actually do because I was trying to do 45s at each end, but I don't know how to notch 45s with just a grinder. I tried, I just could not get it. I have to practice more, I guess, try and do some more YouTube watching to figure it out. So I just did the straight set one here in the center, but even then this was challenging. I ended up just notching one end of the tube, marking out where I needed it to be, and then notching a whole long section, the 2 notches, so this piece fell off, and I just cleaned it up, and even then I had to shave a little bit off the end to get it to fit. So that's how it's going to be, but again, this is for my car. I think the ones that I'm going to do for you guys are just going to have 3 of these, like 1, 2, and 3. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and finish MIGging this up. I'm afraid to TIG it because I don't want to warp it too much. Obviously I'm still new with TIG, so I'm pretty slow. I don't want to concentrate too much heat in one spot. So I'll MIG it real quick, and then I will make a jig probably off of this one. But yeah, not too bad. I mean, this thing's definitely going to be sturdy for sure. All welded up, I have it bolted in place. I actually found some smaller bolts with the same thread pitch because I was using the ones that came with my coilovers, which were a big 16 mil, and the 16 socket is big in this hole, so that made fitment issues. But now that I use same size bolt, just smaller head, I was able to get this in a lot better. But in the midst of this, our old boy Sebastian showed up. Some of you OGs may remember him, and he no longer has that red EJ Civic that some of you guys may remember, and now he's about that I don't know, the modern life.
Shut up.
So nice turbo.
Hey, this was the daily I wasn't supposed to mess with, but now that I'm messing with it, I might as well mess with it until I get another rear wheel drive.
Yeah. So in the meantime, he's doing an upgraded intercooler. He's already got like downpipe, probably exhaust. This thing's definitely loud.
Exhaust.
Yeah, and he's got it tuned, so that's what he needs right now.
The custom intake gets made once I can finally do the damn downpipe. So.
Yeah, but in the meantime, he's getting some heat soak. Obviously, we're in Arizona, and no bueno. So he's gonna throw on this big boy intercooler. So he hit me up to weld on some fittings on here, so that way we can kind of get this mounted behind this bumper support here, and get rid of this teeny tiny little guy. Well, I got the one welded up. This is really thick aluminum, so it's taking forever to heat up, and my torch is only air cooled, so my torch is overheating really quickly. So I'm only doing like a couple dabs at a time, and then it's on fire. But yeah, just gotta finish this one, and then cut up some angle iron type, whatever that stuff is, to use for mounting brackets. Well, intercooler is welded up, installed, and he's got his new piping on, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Now he's just finishing putting it back together, and then he'll go do Sebastian things, and we won't see him for months again. Well, we're into the next day. Sebastian got his car finished up. He got out of there, and now we are back down here at Shiloh's house. So messing with the 2J Civic again today. He wants to make a harness bar type thing, because if you notice when we were driving it, we didn't have seat belts. Can't have that. So we're gonna try and make a harness bar, and yeah, I think that's pretty much gonna be it after that, but we'll see. Ooh, heavy bottle, weak knees. Did you see the motor yet?
No, not yet.
I'll check it out. Oh, cool, you got the hood put on from the last time. Pretty wild, right?
Yeah, that is sick.
Not something you see every day.
Crazy. Nice little bit of clearance.
Yeah, it's not bad. Like totally custom intake manifold and everything.
You're looking very introspective right now.
I'm just looking at everything. It's just trippy seeing the different stuff in here yet.
Yeah.
I like how we did the rear brace to keep the control arms geometry like intact. still uses the stock trailing arm and everything too.
Makes life a lot easier when you're trying to get parts.
Yeah. Not as young as you once were.
It's years catching up. Too much skateboarding.
Too much life. One of those two. The ground might help.
Shut that part out. Chris, you're now broke from paying the shipping on that.
Huh?
So you're now broke from paying the shipping on that.
Oh, he paid shipping. Thankfully.
All I know is the Postal Service thanks you for your patronage.
Yeah, something like that. Dang.
Damn, son.
Yeah, that's in there. Like almost sweating through a white shirt, and I never sweat. I'm like a dog, I don't sweat. I just die.
It's not a good thing, man.
No, it's not. Doesn't matter how much fluids I have in me. Alright, just left Shiloh's house. I'm gonna do one more side job right now, just modify downpipe for this kid in his Turbo Civic. I just showed it to his house, but I'm gonna end this video here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, found it, anything. If you did, let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to slap the like button. Do it for the Doge. If you're new to the channel, hopefully you've considered subscribing. And yeah, I'm gonna go do some more work out in this disgusting heat. And we'll see you guys in the next one. So do what you love, forget about the rest, and yeah, catch you in the next one.